We're just into December, Danny, and your former club Liverpool has a 9-point lead at the top. What would the transition be like with Jurgen Klopp going and Arne Slot coming in? Well, now we know. Virtually seamless. Danny, before I get into the nuts and bolts of Salah, Trent and Van Dijk, when are we going to get fresh news on them? What is your take on what Slot has done? Because you, if of anyone, can tell us what the thought must be around Anfield and around Melwood at the moment.
Well, I think the transition being so good is a little bit surprising to everyone. The most ardent Liverpool fans probably didn't anticipate a title challenge and maybe a Champions League challenge, and now they're both being talked about, realistically, for obvious reasons.
You must be loving it.
It's brilliant to watch. I think of course, there's no doubt he inherited a really good squad, but that still doesn't mean you're going to walk through the door and get them on board, and also see his the transition of his philosophy or his coaching styles be so evident so quickly. I think they've got a great chance now because confidence is up. They've got a good, healthy squad. Competitions for places is there. Be interesting to see what happens in January. I don't see at the moment those contract issues you talk about being a problem, but the weekend's performance was arguably the best because it had great variation.
I agree with you, Danny, but we are largely baffled as to why we don't hear anything about Salah, who talks a fair bit about it, about Trent and about Van Dijk, and almost inevitably Arne Slot was asked that before the game at Newcastle.
Maybe Mo knows more about the 115 acquisitions that are done, so he expects them not to be in the Premier League next season. And I do expect them in the Premier League. No, I think the boring answer is always the same. This is not the place for me to talk about most contracts, and maybe I've said already too much about the joke I just made, so that will probably get the headlines. But it was a joke. I repeat, it was a joke.
Well, that was Arne Slot. The thing of it is this, though, Simon. We've come almost regularly to expect Mo Salah to talk about it. And to say, do you know what? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be staying. I don't know if I'm going to be going. Could be my last games that I'm playing right now in the red shirt of Liverpool.
Yeah, we often have these delightful little teasers, don't we? We had the egg timer with Aubameyang, weren't we? We were all waiting to see how much money he could get paid because we were all so desperately enthused by it. Look, the bottom line is that I think Mohamed Salah will stay at Liverpool. I mean, I noticed that they've indexed him to PSG. That's classic tactics of getting people to hurry up. Okay, it's not just Saudi; it's a European club as well. So he's got a variety of options, and if he can still play serious competitive football because PSG are a significant force in European football, albeit they don't win anything in European football. But the point is that I would assume, my assumption is that Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah will re-sign for Liverpool, and that Trent Alexander-Arnold will leave. That's how I see it playing out.
I think the Salah thing, Jim, is look. His comments and various interviews that he's done regarding the contract when he's asked questions, they're hardly divisive. He delivers them in quite a calm, smiley way. And I think he's earned the right to.
Well, do you? Because Jamie Carragher says Salah's been selfish with his interviews in recent weeks.
I think there's all... there's a degree.
Now, I know you respect and love Jamie, but is he right on that?
I don't have a problem with it like Jamie does. I understand his comments because any player coming out talking about himself could be deemed as selfish. The reality is if anyone in that team's earned the right to be able to speak about his position, it's him.
What Jamie was also saying was it's universally accepted that at no time during his career, or virtually at very few times, does he ever stop in the mix zone to speak to anybody, and yet he's now a frequent visitor to it.
Yeah, because he's earned the right to, and he wants to come give a message across to the Liverpool fans this ain't about him being greedy.
Earn the right, or just get on with signing a contract or not signing a contract.
Well, I think there's parts of his interviews that he could have worded better. So I don't believe, and I think Jamie agrees with this, and most people agree that there's had to have been some communication with his representatives and Liverpool. So the fact that he's saying there hasn't been an offer, you could say, well, there hasn't been an offer. There is some conversations going. I'm not sure which way it's going. You could go down that route.
We're in dialogue.
Yeah.
We're in dialogue. It's an easy thing.
You and I both know that the only time you see a contract is when it's put in front of you, when everything's been agreed by the people that represent you, and then you put your bloody signature on it as advised by the people that are around you. And the fact that Liverpool haven't put a formal offer in front of him does not mean that Liverpool haven't been having some form of dialogue, which is, what does it look like from your end?
Yeah.
The surprising thing in all of this, Jim, just quickly, the surprising thing in all of this for me, and I think Virgil will stay, you're right, How can you let such an asset of Trent get to this position? That's the one that baffles me.
Yes, I know.
Maybe
I know,
we'll
and
come
you've
back
said
to
that
it
before,
later,
and I
but
agree with you, Danny.
Completely baffles me.
A 9-point lead, Danny, and it would be unfair of me to push you and say, is it done if they won it? Because you don't want to tempt fate, and I get that. But see, they don't win it. When Arsenal didn't win it, they were labelled bottlers. Would we be calling Liverpool bottlers,
I think
having thrown away a 9-point lead?
I can't give you yes or no, because I think it completely depends on how they lost it. So, for example, if Arsenal won every...
What?
Well, let me
If they're
finish.
9 points clear,
Let me finish.
and in March, and
Let
they
me
don't win the
finish.
league, they will have bottled it by the same standards that Arsenal did.
No.
Yes.
No, because if
Yes,
Arsenal...
Jim? You agree with that?
It's hard to
Let
disagree
me
with that,
explain.
Danny,
Let
from
me
where
give
I'm
you. Let me
sitting.
give you an explanation.
Well, you try to.
If Arsenal win every game from now till the end of the season, yeah, and Liverpool lose 3 games between now and the end of the season, that's not bottling it. To lose 4 games in a season and get nearly 100 points and still lose the league is not bottling it. That's just being beaten by a hell of a side.
But is that not what happened with City and Arsenal? Because City went on a hell of an unbeaten run, and Arsenal were then tagged bottlers.
Yeah, not by me.
By you?
No.
No?
No.
No?
Yes, but also, in fairness to that observation, it was the games that Arsenal lost against, I think, teams that you would never have expected them to lose in that run of games that ultimately cost them the league. So it might well be that Danny has some point in the qualification of it.
Okay.
But it won't stop us calling them bottlers if they do it.
Liverpool may well increase that lead tonight. Who knows? They're at Newcastle tonight. As for Newcastle United under Eddie, is there a staleness about the place? It would seem there is. We'll get to that.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.